cheap insurance. Well, everyone does. It doesn't matter if you're an old driver or a new driver. No one wants to pay over the odds, do they? So I'm insured on both of these at the moment. So I've got a Corsa VXR and a Fiesta 1600, and I've done hours and hours of research on quotes and just changing one little bit at a time, getting quotes, changing another bit, getting another quote, just so I can get to the cheapest possible quote outline that I can find. But no, I found it, and I'm paying quite a good price for both of these cars. So yeah, it's pretty simple. As soon as you get the outline, you can just use it for any car. So I'll use the exact same quote for both of these cars, and it's got me a good price on my insurance. So yeah, I'll be able to show you what the outline is, and you can just use it for any car that you want to get in the future. So both cars are 1.6s. Obviously the VXR's got a turbo, the Fiesta doesn't, but generally they can work out quite expensive cars, even being 1.6s, but at 18 years of age with 1 year of driving experience, they can work out quite expensive cars to insure. I mean, originally I was getting quoted for the Fiesta alone £175 a month, and the VXR £240 a month, and obviously I cannot afford to insure both on that price. So yeah, I just spent time, absolute hours, looking at quotes, just changing one little bit at a time to find the right one. But at the moment, I'm actually paying, I think it's 91 for the Fiesta a month, £91, and I think it's 93 for the VXR, which, to be honest, is not a bad price, especially for 1.6 cars, which are quite sporty as well. I mean, my first car was a Peugeot 207, and I was paying, what was it, 1,450 a year, which is more than the Corsa. So, you know, you can't really expect to be paying less than £1,000 a year if you want a car like this, especially if you're at the age of 18 or 17. But yeah, it's not going to be absolutely nothing, but it's very cheap for the cars that they are, because, you know, being quoted £240 a month for a car and taking it down to £93 a month, that's a big cut. So yeah, I'll get into it. I'll show you what to do, show you how I did it, and hopefully you can get the same results and get insured on the car that you want. Alright, so we'll hop in the VXR. It'll be a bit quieter in here and you'll actually be able to hear me, otherwise this video won't be much help with it. So let's get into this. To get your quote right down, first stage, I'm not helping you at all with this, we'll just get it out of the way first. It's the obvious. Use comparison websites, do not go direct, so you'll get shafted. I was getting quoted more than £240 a month for the VXR when I went straight to the people I wanted to get the insurance from, because they know that you want to choose them. So they've got no other competition really. They know that you've gone straight to them, you've filled out the whole quote, you've wasted, what, half hour filling out a quote for them, and they'll just give you a price out of the blue. But with comparison websites, you can just change little bits at a time to get, you know, you can get 10 quotes a minute from there, and you can just see which one's the best. No one wants a black box, do they? So don't worry, I'm not talking about black box insurance here. But I think personally the most important one, which I've not heard on any other YouTube channel before, I've seen other videos on this, no one's mentioned it, but do it on a Sunday. So if you get your insurance quote on a Sunday, I'll put some screenshots up on the screen in a minute of one that I did on Saturday, the exact same, and then one that I did on Sunday. I find at least a 15 to 20% decrease in price when I get a quote on a Sunday. This doesn't mean you have to insure on Sunday, because you can pick what date you want it to start. So even if it's 12 o'clock midnight, as it ticks over to Sunday, just do your quote then. I was getting £150 and it goes down to 102 or something like that. Not sure why, I'm not sure generally how it works, but Sunday, cheapest day of the week, 100%. And the next one is put your license number into the comparison website as well. I use Compare the Market because I think that's the best one personally, but obviously you can use whatever you want. I think Compare the Market is just the quickest one. You can just get, you know, multiple quotes every minute. When you put your license number in, it even says at the bottom it can decrease your quote by up to 10%. I think it's just so they can scan your license, make sure that there's nothing dodgy going on there, and they can trust you. It doesn't matter what age you are. Even if you've got a provisional license, just put that provisional, just put the number in, and you'll see straight away the quote will go down by quite a bit. Yeah, that will help you out by quite a lot, to be honest, because a lot of people just ignore that. It just says something along the lines of, do you have your license number? And it's already ticked as no, and everyone just leaves it and goes straight on. But make sure you're putting that in. It takes 2 seconds. It's literally on the front of your license, and it will take a lot of money off your insurance quote. That brings me on to the next one, the value of the car. A lot of people put the value quite higher than what the car's actually worth, because obviously if they crash they're going to get a bigger payout, but that's of course going to make your insurance more expensive. This car cost me £4,000 and I'm selling it for 5,200, which is what it's actually worth. I got it on a bid, I got it quite cheap, but I put £4,000 as the, you know, as the value of the car, because it's what I spent on it. If I crash, which hopefully I won't, then that's what I'll get paid. I'll just get paid back what I paid for the car, because if I put it up to 5, it took the insurance up by an extra, I think it's £27 a month. But yeah, just put it up for what you bought it for. Cut your loss if you have an accident. I don't think you will, hopefully. But that doesn't mean if you have a £5,000 car, you can put the value at £1,000, because that's insurance fraud. You don't want to be doing that. That's a completely different story. Just put it what you bought it for, or maybe just £100 cheaper. Don't just be ridiculous with it, because they're gonna know if you've got a 2015 Fiesta and you're putting the value as £2,000. They're gonna know that there's something dodgy there. So yeah, don't get your insurance cancelled, and don't blame me either. But also, it's the day that you're insuring the car as well. So I know when you get your car, or if you pass your test, you're just buzzing to go out and you just want to get insured straight away, which fair enough. If you want to pay an extra, it's probably only another £20 a month or something. But if you want to get insured on the same day as you get the quote, it's going to be a bit more expensive. If you're patient, put the date by at least 2 days forward. So say if you pass your test on the Saturday, start the insurance on the Monday. That'll make it quite a bit cheaper. It's just because it gives them a bit of warning. So say if I wanted to insure my car in 10 minutes and I gave them a call and said, oh yeah, I want to insure my car now, they've not really got any warning. They can't really look into you or anything like that. So it's going to be more expensive. Even the day after will work out probably 10% cheaper. So yeah, just be a bit patient with it. I know it's hard, but that's what I did. I waited 4 days after I bought this car to get insured on it, because it worked out being about £30 cheaper than if I was getting insured on the same day. That's per month, so it works out £300, £360 a year more expensive, just because you want to get insured for those extra 2 days. But yeah, I'm trying to find a way to make this video quite interesting. I don't just want to be sat in a car talking to you about how to make insurance cheap, which I know is all you want to find out really, but you know, I don't want to make a boring video out of it. So I'll tell you what, let's move to the Fiesta instead. It's not going to make a difference to you, is it? But at least I feel like I'm doing something. Just come sitting here. I haven't done a video on this Fiesta yet. I'll have to do one soon. But we'll go for a little drive as well in a minute in both cars. I think the Corsa's more interesting, but yeah, we'll have a little drive. I've got a dash cam now, so we can see out the front window. But the next step towards getting cheaper insurance is going to be something that not a lot of people think about actually, and that's the yearly mileage. A lot of people just put 10,000 because that's the average, to be fair. But I know I'm not keeping my Corsa for a long time, so I put it down to 8,000, and that took my quote down by quite a bit, because they know obviously if you're driving more miles, you're more likely to have an accident, or you're more likely to do something bad, or you know, get points or something that's going to bring your insurance up. However, I did try it with like 4,000, and that actually made it more. I think that's because they think that you're not a confident driver, because they know you're not going to drive much and you're more likely to not be as confident on the road. You're like one of those people who just pass their test and they're just slugging along, causing more trouble than if you drove fast, to be fair. But yeah, I think 8,000 I found was to be the cheapest, and most people don't, at a young age, don't even do 10,000 a year anyway, unless you're using it to commute, if you're driving to work in it as well. But most people just use their car probably every day, but they don't drive far in it, do they? Especially if you just pass your test, or if you're a young driver. But 8,000 miles turned out to be the cheapest. If you're going to do more, don't lie again. just put 10,000. They don't really check it, but it'll come up on your MOT history. And if you have a job, your actual job title can make a big difference on the price of your insurance. It's a bit harsh that they think different jobs can have more accidents, or what. I think they just base it on general data. But say if you're just say if you're a mechanic, like there's different things. There's vehicle services, body repairers, or just general mechanics, and just look for all the different job titles and just select each one and get a different quote on them and see which one comes out cheaper. They're all basically the same. They mean the same thing, but different ones can be cheaper. It doesn't mean you're lying. You know, you're not lying. You're just changing your job title, aren't you? So yeah, so that can make a big difference as well. And also with the excess of the car, I'm actually paying £0 voluntary excess for each car, but the compulsory is 580. So what that means is if you have an accident, that's what you got to pay as an upfront fee in order for anything to happen. Basically, you can put your excess up, you can put your voluntary up to 500, and that would have brought my quotes down by even more. But it's not worth it, I don't think, because if you do have an accident or if something happens, the money that you're saving, you're just going to end up spending more because you just got to do it as an upfront fee. So yeah, even £250 excess, that's not that much. Just make sure you're looking at the different companies that you're looking at using, see what their compulsory excess is, because if it's quite high on its own, there's no point in putting your own in. That's just going to be a bonus to them. So yeah, just leave it at 0 and then just put it up, because the thing with comparison websites is you can just put it up by £100 each time and just see which one's cheapest, and just work out what's worth it for you, really. And then lastly is going to be the additional drivers. That's the one that everyone does, especially if you're a young driver. Put your parents into the additional drivers, and that'll bring your quote down by a ridiculous amount. That's the one that affects it the most, I think. As long as your parents haven't had a load of accidents. To be honest, I don't even have my mum. I only have my dad on here because my mum's had a couple of accidents. Well, not bad accidents, but she's had a couple of dinks in the last couple of years, and it actually brought it up. So if you just put your mum, put your dad in, or a carer, or anyone, sister, older brother, just put them in. As long as they're not having accidents here, then everywhere, and that'll bring your insurance down by quite a lot. It's just a bit of trial and error, really. Just seeing what brings it down to the cheapest. But of course, as I said, I'm going to put a load of screenshots at the end of my full quote, just so you can completely copy it and have the template yourself. I'm not telling you to waste all your time looking into it, because I've done it already. So I might as well just show you exactly the outline of the quote. You can put the exact same in there, and you should get a cheap quote as well. Some things will be personal to me, of course, like, you know, you have to write how many cars you have in your house, where you keep your car at day, where you keep your car in the night. I just keep it up the drive, so you know, it's cheaper than keeping it out the front, which can be a problem, because I know a lot of people keep it out on the streets, but it's not going to affect it that much. The main thing is just being honest. You can bend the truth a little bit, you know, with the value of the car, just put it down a little bit, just change your job title, things like that. It will affect your price. So yeah, £240 down to 93 a month, which is a very, very good price for this. The most money I spend is on bloody petrol, so you know, I have to put in like £10 a day in this car. So if you made it this far, then thank you. I hope you haven't got bored of me just talking at the camera the whole video. There's not really much else I can do. I was trying to think of ideas of what I can do to make it a bit of a more interesting video. I thought I could go for a drive at the same time as talking, but I don't think the audio is going to be as clear with the exhaust as well. And it is an informative video at the end of the day. It's not, you know, I'm just trying to tell you how to get cheap insurance prices. You're here to learn something, and that's all I've tried to do. I've just tried to show you. So if this has helped you at all, drop a comment down below. Any questions, I'll get back to them. Subscribe to the channel for more. I'll be doing some videos on this car soon, and there's more to come on that subject, and I'm just aiming to get in more cars and just do videos on them as I'm selling them. Got an Instagram channel as well, where I've got a few cars on there. I'll track my progress with the cars that I buy, and I help some other people sell their cars, so I've got a few things on there. I'll leave a link in the description as well. But yeah, feel free to give it a little look, check it out, and yeah, so that's the end of the video, and I'll catch you soon.